in under the hoods as Doom with initially Woman, Nancy Sullivan.
Yeah,
as she rested in peace.
I always laugh and get a kick out of when everyone speak of that, right? Because, all right, maybe you had 7, 6 at the most, right? Black men in that business at that particular time at the organization, right? So now you've got 200, 300-pound men. Okay, let me take a guess who that can be under those masks, right? But here's the thing that I like the best about that, right? Is that when we did put those masks on, right, and we had such great matches with those masks on with the Steiner and the Road Warrior, that, hey, it caught on and the people really got behind it because we were such assholes, as you were saying, they wanted to see them kick our ass and take the mask off of us.
That's
exactly.
That's
yeah.
And having Nancy at ringside, just put that little bit that component that
just add a little bit more to it.
Yeah,
right. Beautiful woman, you know.
Yeah, you're with them. Yeah. She's so pretty. Why are you with them? You should come be. That's what. Then it worked.
Yeah, got under your skin there. Yeah.
Now I'll say this: no one did not know that it was you and Bruce under those hoods. I don't know, burst your butt.
Didn't have a guess at all, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. But like you said, there was only 6 guys in the company that were African American, and only 2 of you were 300-pound bodybuilders. And
okay, you know what? And I don't want to, just stop you and correct, but let me just say this, all right? Now, a lot of, in particular, a lot of people, and particularly a lot of black people, right, in some ways might not agree with this, but when I say I want to be referred to as black, that's what I mean, okay? The reason I say that, because when I won that championship, I wasn't in Africa. I was right here in the United States. So I'm a black American, okay?
I stand correct.
All right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let me just set that straight, all right?
Got it.
Yeah, black American. Now, Teddy, you understand, for a lot of people that might know him, right? And he's held every job in this business. Started out driving, pulling the ring, worked his way up to being a referee, right? Going on, to collect money at the doors, worked his way to being general manager, right? And then manager, of Butch and I. So he had a wealth of knowledge, all right, that helped me in the ring, you understand, for how I should do this, how I should project my image and everything, right? And then having been tagged with Butch, already been in the business 5 or 6 years prior to me being tagged up with him, right? That just helped me even much more. Well,
and unlike a lot of those guys that are put in that position, Teddy was not in any danger of becoming a wrestler.
No.
He's like
no
120 pounds soaking wet.
Yeah, no threat.
And still is.
Yeah.
He could stand inside of that lighting grid.
That's right.
So now you've hit it. You and Reed are at the top, and then the hoods come off.
Yeah. Right. That's what's to set the stage. Once again, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, the hoods come off from there, right? Great run with the Steiners. Fantastic, man.
And the Horsemen too.
All of them. Arn, Tully, Barry, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. And learning and under the learning tree also with them as we had those matches throughout there, right? But it was just a very good period of time and working in that tag team division with Butch and being up against people, working in the ring with Arn Anderson. I can't say enough about that, man. It was such a learning experience,
You had a long 8-9 month run with the tag straps, lost them to the Freebirds, and I think that was, and you can correct, oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Now, what's the smirk for the Freebirds? Is there a thing?
No. I mean, listen, with Michael Hayes, right, who was a good friend of mine, very instrumental in me also coming into WCW or WWE at that time, or F, right? Right. But working with the Freebirds, man, and a totally different style of wrestling when coming from working with this style of show warriors with the Freebirds, a lot more finesse in it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But very good in their own right, a little bit more of a psychological part of it, right, but it was very good.
But you guys, to bring it full circle, you guys didn't miss a trick. You're working the Steiners, legit all-American amateur wrestlers. You're working the Road Warriors, who were just brawl, street tough, bodybuilder, powerlifter guys like you and Bruce. And then you get to the Freebirds, who are something else. But the matches are all terrific.
Yeah, all of them. Well, it all goes back to what we were speaking of, right? When we spoke of character, you know, and psychological part of it, you know, Mike and Jimmy, you know, they had enough of everything to, you know, to fill in all the blanks when it came to size, you know, and then the finesse part of it, right? And in areas that I might not, you know, been missing, you know, they knew how to fill those gaps in for me when I was in the ring with them. You know,
they had at that point, they were, our Jimmy Garvin had been 20 years in.
Right. You know, so, you know, for me, at my process, as I say, man, from during the period of time, it was learning as well as, you know, me being in the ring, you know, performing with them. Right. Yeah. So it's good.
And still, we're only about 6.5 years removed from you, you know, talking to Lex and then getting hooked up with Matsuda. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's still, as I was putting this together to just do the factual chronology, how quickly that happened for you.
Yeah, it's amazing, you know.
Lost the straps to the Birds, which was to set the stage for the turn to feud you and Bruce. How was that? How did that go?
Yeah, it was actually, you know, it got to a point there, right, where things kind of, you know, got real. For a moment there, you know, yeah, well, with he and I, right, you know, because look, sometimes we didn't see eye to eye on everything, all right, you know, right, sometimes, you know, hey, when you're in the car together, traveling all the time, right, hey, you can get on each other's skin. And it's
like a marriage.
Yeah, and it just happened to be that we were getting ready to make this transition, okay, which, look, I got to tell you, look, so when we got to the building and this is what we were going to do, in the process of making this turn, look, people probably saw it from a standpoint of me and him, you know, me coming from, you know, being the heel and making the transition to babyface. But look, it was real because we were mad at each other. Okay, we wanted to kick each other's ass for real.
I've never heard that story.
That's why I can't fight.
I mean, that's two bosses going at it for real out there. Babyface turn after the bust up with Reed, and again, doing the research, I actually saw one of the researchers that had put some of this together that I'm reading said you went down to the middle or maybe sometimes to the lower card and worked up-and-comers like Kevin Nash and Scott Hall during that run.
Yeah, right.
Who were only a couple of years away from destroying the business, as it were, and being glad they did.
And had no problem doing so. Okay,
sure.
Right, because, you know, look, as you go on, man, you pick up on how this business works and how it, you know, don't be too eager to get to a certain place, all right? Otherwise, you might not be around as long. So look, take your time, go along for the ride.